As part of the election reforms in Nigeria, election tribunals were indeed created with the aim of ensuring transparency, accountability, and the rule of law during the election process. This was to make sure that elections were held in accordance with the people's will. Challenging or contesting election results has become a norm here in Nigeria. On this episode of The Proof, powered by Africa Check, we take a look at how the petition system works, how the tribunal is set up, and more. I'm Joe Hanson. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to The Proof. Welcome back to The Proof. Results from Nigeria's general elections have been under scrutiny since the elections was held. But there are different levels to this scrutiny. There's the one that comes from the voters, there's another one that comes from civil society organizations, and the one that comes from election observers, and also, not forgetting too, the one that comes from the courts. Well, following the vote, which took place in February and March 2023, it was reported that some 327 petitions had been filed with election tribunals across the country. President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu's victory was one of those under the microscope as rivals challenged his election. This, as the country's Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, pushed back on allegations of irregularities and insisted it had done its job as referee very well. Well, Tinubu is due to be sworn in on the 29th of May. But the decision on whether he will serve out his term now rests solely with an election petition tribunal. Well, joining me now is Africa Check's Nigeria editor, Seyi Awojulugba. Give us some background on how the election tribunal is formed and what the process entails.
The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal for the 2023 election started sitting on May 8th. In Nigeria, tribunals are established by the electoral laws to resolve disputes. They have the power to nullify elections and order fresh elections. The tribunals are set up by the Court of Appeal at least 30 days before the elections are held. Judges are appointed by the President of the Appeal Court. And for cases relating to governorship and legislative elections, judges are appointed in consultation with the Chief Judge of the state. The Court of Appeal makes the final decision in lower level petitions. But for the presidential election, the Court of Appeal acts as the tribunal and the Supreme Court has the final say.
Who could submit a petition to the tribunals? And also, help us, what is the time frame for petition submission?
The 2022 Electoral Act limits the right to petition the tribunals to candidates who participated in an election or political parties that participated in the elections. This means that an ordinary citizen who did not contest in the election cannot petition the tribunal. According to the law, the grounds for filing a petition against the outcome of an election includes instances where the candidate was not qualified to contest in the election, corrupt practices, failure to comply with the electoral law, and if the candidate whose victory is being challenged did not receive a majority of the valid votes cast in the election. The law stipulates that any candidate or political party that wishes to file a petition to challenge the outcome of an election must do so within 21 days of the announcement of the election results. The tribunal, in turn, must also announce its decision within 180 days of the filing of the petition.
Okay, so let's talk about the 2023 election. And as of now, President-elect Bola Tinubu's victory is being challenged at the tribunal. What is it looking like?
In the present situation, Atiku Abubakar, a former vice president and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and Peter Obi, who was the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, have filed petitions challenging Tinubu's electoral victory as declared by INEC. In his petition, Atiku asked the tribunal to declare him winner of the election, arguing that Tinubu's victory was invalid due to non-compliance with the Electoral Act. On the other hand, Peter Obi claims that Tinubu was ineligible to contest the election because of an alleged drug conviction in the US. As at the time the report was published, a verdict is not expected from the tribunal before Tinubu's inauguration on May 29. However, there have been calls from several quarters that the tribunal process should be completed before the declared winner is sworn in. Olisa Agbakoba, a senior Nigerian lawyer and former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, said the 180-day time frame for the tribunal is too long. In an interview, Agbakoba said he understood the Labour Party's concerns about an inauguration in the middle of a petition. Chidi Yodinkalu, a lawyer and former chair of Nigeria's National Human Rights Commission, told Africa Check that the ideal situation would have been to have the tribunal complete its work before the swearing-in ceremony.
But how effective is the tribunal in the final outcome of an election?
Over the years, several governors and legislators have been dismissed by election tribunals after they have been sworn in. They include Chris Ngige in Anambra, Murtala Nyako in Adamawa, Aliyu Wamako in Sokoto, Okeze Ikpeazu, in Abia State.
When we come back, we'll look at how the tribunal is indeed funded and its effect on Nigeria's judicial system. Stay with us. Welcome back to The Proof. Now, tell us how the tribunal is indeed funded.
Speaking on the funding of the tribunal, INEC allocates part of its budget to legal matters, including the cost of election tribunals. In its 2023 election project plan, the Commission budgeted $5.19 billion, which is about $11.2 million at the official exchange rate of 461 naira to the dollar, for litigation and prosecution. INEC also set aside another 886 million naira, which is around $1.9 million, for legal drafting and clearance.
Are there concerns about the credibility of the tribunal and how transparent and trustworthy the process is?
Some civil society organizations have praised the role of election tribunals in the past in resolving disputes and upholding the rule of law. However, some have raised concerns about the tribunal's independence and impartiality. In the past, there have also been complaints about the slow pace of justice in election tribunals, noting that these cases sometimes take years to resolve.
Thank you, Seyi. All right, so it is important to note that the decision of an election tribunal can have a significant impact on the outcome of the election. Well, if the tribunal finds substantial evidence of electoral malpractice or irregularities that could have affected the result, it may nullify the election or order a rerun. On the other hand, if the tribunal dismisses the petition, the original election stands. But in all of these, we should also be careful with how we believe conversations concerning the tribunals, especially with the ones that are not coming from an authentic source. While the process is ongoing, individuals should only share information from credible sources and not misinform others as to avoid unnecessary chaos in the country. Well, if you want to know more about a claim that you see on social media, send it to Africa Check. You can also find details of today's fact check by visiting www.africacheck.org. That's .org. You can find it there on the screen. You can tweet at africacheck_NG. And don't always forget to follow us. We're also on social media 24/7 at News Central TV. Now you can also go check our website. It's www.newscentral.africa. It's been a fantastic edition of The Proof. Until we meet again next week, make sure you look carefully before you share. I'm Joe Hanson. Thank you for watching.